Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be giving you a brief overview and review of Barcelona by Board&Dice Games. So this is a game where it takes place in Barcelona in the 19th century. So you're playing as a builder, trying to get the most victory points by building buildings, corner buildings, making tram trails, and several other ways to gain victory points. Basically, you're trying to basically please. I think it's Cadiz, I believe, because there's the Cadiz track that you're moving up. So basically, you start out with your player board. Of course, we've already played, so mine has stuff on it. Eventually, you will be gaining modernism tiles that go here that will gain you in-game points. You can see at the top there's the points and there's the requirement. Like, for instance, this one here is 2 points for every, I think, cloth you have, for a max of 5. So there's several different ways that have in-game points, and you will have choices of those when you do get that opportunity to do that action. There is Sagrada Familia tiles. There's 4 different levels, I think, of these. And when you pass this space, when you move on the Sagrada Familia track, you get to choose a Sagrada Familia tile from that level. And they offer different instant rewards. As soon as you claim those, you turn it over. You will also be trying to upgrade the points you get on your modernism tiles by, there's an action on the board that allows you to do this by moving from here to up to there, which multiplies it by a higher number. You have your wide track and your single track. I think that's what they call them. Streets, narrow street tiles and wide street tiles. And as soon as you'll have the 3 piles of them. You also get to move up on the track here when you basically use each pile. You will be trying to create intersections that you will put out here on the map. When you do, that opens up rewards that you get. The more you do, the more choices of those rewards. You start out with only getting to choose 1. Then when you get up to here, you get to choose 2. You'll also be trying to remove your cobblestone tiles to open up more inventory. You start out with 4 slots for inventory to store your coins and your cloth. You're trying to get up as many of those as you can, and you also get in-game points depending on how far you get over on that track. Same with your tram. Your tram starts out on your board. When you do get to do the tram action, you'll be putting it out here, and with a passenger. For each passenger that you put on the map over here, you will be opening up victory points at the end of the game, depending on how many of those you did. So there's several ways to score in this game. The scoring takes place when this track is called, I know these are the citizens. I think that's called the citizen tracks. When one of these is filled to the end, see there's 3 different sections, you will be scoring based on the random tile that's placed up here. Not all of them, just one. When one is reached, that triggers the scoring. So wherever you are on this track, you multiply whatever you get for, say this is 2 points for every modernism tile you have on your board. So say I had 2, well, I have 3, so that would be 6 points. If I'm all the way at the top here, that is 4 times that 6, so it would be 24 points. So it's a multiplier. Some of them, way down here, it's only times 1. Here it's times 0, and it goes up further. You start out here in the middle. And then once you're at the top, if you score more points, for each one you go up above that, you get 2 victory points that you get to score. You'll be moving your tracker here around the board throughout the game as you're scoring.
When you do go through here, though, and you start the scoring shortly after, you're going to want to reset
You refresh
the top,
those.
and these go straight to the.
Yeah, they go back to the middle.
Right. Yeah. So
if you're under here, you stay down there. But if you're above that line, you go back down. It kind of balances it back to where everyone's somewhat on a level playing field. And you just keep doing this and playing and placing your citizens tokens until all 3 scoring times have been resolved. The way you get these citizens tokens, you're going to be drawing 2 at the beginning of your turn. Make sure I get this right. And then you're going to be placing those on 1 empty crossing. So it's these little octagon shapes. So you're placing them anywhere on the board with that octagon. And then you can put them in any order. You have 2. So if you want to put these are the, what do they call, upper class, middle class, and working class. So you could put them in any order that you want. However, they are certain tiles, buildings. Oh, sorry, these are very hard to reach. Certain buildings that you might want to build based on the benefits. So the lowest one is this one, and you can see that's anywhere any citizen can fulfill that. So if I put that here, and you can build on top if it's a higher level. We'll just pretend that is a higher level. So I need 2 citizens to fulfill that. You have to take 1 citizen from each section. You can't take 2 from the same spot. You place them here on the board once you use them, and then you score or whatever the tile says you could do. This one allows you to move up 1 on this track. You turn it over, and then you put your player disc on top of it. That was a level 1.
And the player disc you will be grabbing from these.
Yeah, and each time you do that, you get to go up 1 more on this track. So that was level 1. This is level 2, and this is level 3. Level 2, you get to move up 1 on this Sagrada Familia track. So you would immediately get to take a level 1 at the beginning. But you do, however, move backwards 1 on the Cadiz track? I can't remember what that's called. Because this goes against his beliefs of how he wanted Barcelona built. So, but that requires a middle class and any other citizen to fulfill. This one is the biggest rewards, but it requires 3 citizens. So you'd have to have an intersection with 3 of these filled. It requires upper class and 2 of any other. You get to move 2 spaces on your Sagrada Familia track. You get 7 instant victory points, and however, you have to move backwards 2 on that track because it doesn't meet his requirements of what he wanted Barcelona to be. So you're going to be placing citizens first. Then if you can, you must build a building. There's corner buildings represented here, and then there's the 3 other type of buildings. You will then, once you do that, you put your citizens down here. If you gain whatever the lowest points are at the time that aren't covered, you get to score those immediately. Starting out, it's like 2 points, but once you get over in this round, we were scoring 16 points each time we did a building. Then you check and see if their scoring's triggered. If not, you draw 2 citizens, and you just keep going. Each player keeps going until obviously there's a scoring triggered, and then till the end of the game.
So when you put your citizen, like normally you would put them in a stack of 2, and you would get the benefit from the top and to the right. And so you want to make sure you get both benefits. And if you're in the diagonal area, you also get the train where you get to move and stuff. And that's one key factor. Now, when you do put your citizens, a lot of times you collect resources, points, or cloth. You also sometimes will have to pay your -$1. And so to place these middle ones is normally the reason you would do that. And so, and The reason you do that is because if someone puts it in there, they collect or once you place it, you collect whatever's around it. And so you just want to make sure. So there's a lot to remember. And and the train tracks pretty much work. Like if I had 2 to place, then I would get.
You mean the road tiles?
Yeah, the road tiles. Like this would be 3 points, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then I get another like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so that pretty much.
Those score each time you place it too. Oh, and if you're the first building in a row, you get the 5 victory points. It can only be redeemed 1 time per game.
Oh, did you cover that thing?
No, there is a lot to this game. When you remove your cobblestones from your player board, you're going to be placing them here.
It's like a little mini game.
On this thing.
That's cool.
And basically, you're just collecting rewards. You have to place them next to another cobblestone.
Unless
Anthony had something that allowed him to
place it
anywhere. But
it was a Sagrada.
Normally, though, you have to meet the rules on that. But
oh no, what's this right here?
And this is called Serta Track. I kept calling it Cadiz. Serta Track. So there's things like allowing you to move 1 or 2 spaces on the Serta Track, allowing you to put 2 narrow roads, a wide road. And remember, each time you're putting these roads down, you are scoring and getting, you're basically scoring. You want to try to get them in a line if you can. And you're placing 2 of those at a time. Or your large, wider tile, you're placing 1, but it's 2 points for each one in a line. So this one here, whoever placed the last one got a total of 8 points for that. So there's a lot going on in this game as far as ways to score, all different things you're like working towards, different rewards, different things that trigger other things. But again, your actions are right here. When you place your citizen, like Anthony said, that's a very strategic part of this game. You're trying to make buildings, but you're also trying to get certain benefits and rewards at the same time. So it makes it very tricky to balance that out of where you're going to place your citizens. So like if you this one is the prime spot for an intersection. But so like here you would get a modernism tile, whereas this one you get to upgrade that cube by your modernism tile.
Which gives a multiplier for scoring.
This one you get 3 victory points and a piece of cloth. This one you get to place a wide tile. This one allows you to move 2 spots up the Serta tile. This one you get to remove a cobblestone, which is very important. This one's cool. You get to buy one of the public buildings, which I did not even cover. That's another aspect of this game. There's these public buildings.
That's my favorite.
That cost anywhere from 3 to 1.
And high points.
And then you get points. The first person to buy one gets 10 victory points right away, plus other benefits. They all allow you to move up 2 on the Serta track, and then you get other benefits that are pictured here. Those are a one-time benefit thing, but those are really good, and they cost anywhere from 3 to 2 coins. So that's how you get those. This one just gives you a flat 2 coins. This one you get to place 2 of the narrow roads, and this one allows you to place one of your intersections. So there is a lot going on, but after you've played a few rounds, it does start to sink in, because it does all, they are some things that don't flow, I guess, but once you've played a couple of rounds, they start to flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think we covered most of it in a nutshell. There's a lot to this game. I don't want to make this video super long. So what did you think of this game?
I really like the components, the illustration. Of course, it might be a little biased because I'm actually from Spain. I'm a Spaniard. I'm from Rota. So have a lot of family members that live in Madrid, Barcelona, Cadiz, Rota, everywhere. So I am a little biased. But love the components. Really cool illustration. Like the little wood pieces. Replayability, high replayability. there's so much strategy to this game. I can see why a lot of people loved it, and especially like Euros and complex games. It's not that complex. I would say Terraform Mars might be a little bit harder than this, so it's not like superly complex. And once you actually figure out, it moves very fast. And I mean, the first, like, I would say 2 rounds might be a slow burn, and then once you figure it out, it goes so smooth. Setup time, how long?
Well, it was our first time, but it took a while.
Yeah.
The setup, I would say 20, 30 minutes.
Well, Amanda had to do it by herself because I have a spinal injury and my back was hurt. I couldn't do it. So setup time was pretty long. I'm sure it's cut down if you have 2 people doing it, or even more, 3. But it will take some time. And I'm sure tear down is the same. So, but high replayability. So mechanic-wise, I love the mechanics of this game. It's so much strategy, and there's so many different, like, it's almost like you have different puzzles that and you have little mini games, and you have your tableau area, and it's point salad, but also area control, and it's just really cool mechanics. I'm sure this took a long time to figure out, and especially play test to balance it. So really cool that they made this game. So overall total, I'm giving this like a 9. As we play more, which this is a more heavier game, so we might play like 2 or 3 times a year maybe. But as we play more, I might go up. But for now, I'm giving it a 9. And it's a solid 9. It's so strategic. I love this game. So 9 out of 10, highly recommend.
So yeah, I truly enjoyed this game, and I love the Spanish style. I'm not from Spain, but I love.
Hey, you're married to a Spaniard.
I love the Spanish style, and that explains why I kept calling this Cadiz track.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's actually the Serta track, but I kept saying Cadiz. So, yeah, I love this game. It's really fun, and it is complex, but for me, its complexity makes sense. It's a good complex. I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle bus the first few rounds, mainly because just remembering the scoring, because on the player aids, it doesn't tell you how much you score for the narrow and wide tiles, just little stuff like that, and how you gain your resources when you place certain things. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really... I guess it does. Actually, no, it doesn't. It just says game bonuses and VP. So it doesn't really explain that on the player aid. So you kind of have to remember that. And then when you place your citizens, remembering to do both your row and column. Just little things like that. But it comes instinctive after about the 3rd round. And then when you really start to trip up just a little, when you get to this building, you're like, well, what is that? And we figured that's the public buildings you're getting. So there is a lot of little, like he said, mini games and things going on within the game. And that does make it fun, and it is constantly building, which makes it exciting. And doing even this part is a lot of fun. It's because it's very strategic, because like I said, not only are you trying to get the benefits that you need to help you progress the best in the game, you're also trying to, 1, prevent your opponents from gaining more buildings than you, and by setting them up for a good one next time, you're trying not to do that while setting yourself up for a good one. So it's just a very strategic game. And then you have the tram and the passengers. They don't really do that much, but they do gain you benefits when you place them down, the passengers. That's the main part of that aspect, is the passengers, because you will get in-game points the more of those you put out there. Are you trying to say something?
Yeah, one thing you don't want to forget, because I kind of forgot until mid-game, the whole upgrade thing, where you can upgrade the buildings.
Yeah.
We kind of, because you're so busy trying to learn everything else, that you kind of, after it takes a few turns, and then you're like, oh yeah, you can upgrade. So you want to make sure you remember the upgrade part, because there's a lot of upgrades that I missed and Amanda missed when we first learned it, because
we saw a building was already there, so we were thinking, oh, we can't build there.
Yeah.
But if it's a level 1, level 2, you can build a level 3 or...
So just don't forget that, because that's a key part, and will score you a lot of points. Not only will score you a lot of points, but it'll push the game further faster, so you are not taking, a overly long game. You can make it shorter just by upgrading the buildings.
Yeah, we play this as a 2-player game, but it does play up to 4 players. But I didn't give him a score. I would give this a 9. I really enjoyed this game. I like these games like this where there's I'm not saying I like complex games, because if they're too complex,
you kind of do.
If they're too complex, they're overwhelming.
You like Terraform Mars, you like Feudum.
But the complexity makes sense in those games. Everything makes sense. Some games are just complex to be complex, and it just makes no sense.
Yeah,
but no, like it just makes sense. It all follows the theme. It all I don't know. It does, like, basically gel together in your brain.
Yeah, it does.
After like 3 rounds, you've got it down. You might fumble a little bit on just some things that pop up that you hadn't done yet, but it's, for me, it's a great game. It basically, for people like us that do like the point salad games with a little bit of complexity and a lot of strategy, and it just, I don't know, it just fills all the boxes for me as far as a fun game. Like you said, though, we won't play it a lot because the setup time, and if depending on how long we take till we play it again, we'll have to relearn it a little bit. So, I mean, we'll remember the basics, but, you always have to kind of get up to speed on games. If you play a lot of games, especially, like, we're always playing 3 or 4 different new games a week. So the rules kind of mesh together if you don't read and remember what this game, the rules are for this one. So that will kind of hinder us a little bit getting it to the table as much. But I definitely know we will play this game several times a year, which for us, that's good because we do have a lot of games and we have this channel. So any game that makes it to our table several times a year is a good game for us. So if hopefully this video helped you to decide whether this is a game you want in your collection. This just came out last year. Was it late last year? Late last year. So it hasn't even been out that long. So we will put the link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. And from what I saw, it's not that expensive. It seems like it, with all these components, it would be an expensive game. But I think it was around, what, $50?
Oh, it's like
45.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah, we saw it Miniature Market. I think it was like $42 right now. But I definitely, if you like this type of game, you should check this out. If you enjoyed Feudum, Terraforming Mars, what's the one with the wine? Starts with an O. We've got all the expansions. The Wine Country.
Obsession.
Yes, Obsession. Doesn't it kind of remind you of Obsession in a way? Because Obsession has all the different tracks and things you're going for within the game. Yeah. If you like that type game, this would be a great game for you to check out. Please give this video a like. Feel free to leave a comment or question. We'll get to that when we can. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much. We appreciate our fans. If you're not, we hope you will subscribe and click that little bell so you can get notified when we put up new content. Thank you again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.